Hi, I'm DJ the Money Coach. Don't touch that dial. You want to become financially independent? You want to have consumer debt freedom? You want to have passive income, learn how to build a business, acquire real estate, and achieve the lifestyle you deserve in 2021? Well, hit that link below right now. We've worked with over 20,000 people in the past 2 decades, helping them become consumer debt free, increase their credit scores by 30 to 60 points in 30 days or less, and help them acquire businesses through real estate, taxes, and a network of experts just like me. So you'll get a complete 3-hour, 18-module course called Family Finance 101 that'll teach you A to Z how to become consumer debt free, credit worthy, and it put you in position to become a certified entrepreneur. We'll also give you a complimentary consultation with me that's a $500 value. Why would you want to do that? Because I have already achieved that, and I can help you achieve your American dream in 2021. Hit the link below, get the free webinar and the complimentary consultation, and I'll see you soon and wish you a pom-pom lifestyle that's plenty of money and peace of mind. Come join us.
Toledo Organic Tequila is so crisp, so incredibly smooth, it's simply in a category by itself. This is luxury. Life tastes better naturally, so should your tequila. This is Toledo. Enjoy responsibly. Visit ToledoTequila.com to get your bottle of Toledo Organic Tequila. Get a 10% discount on DJ the Money Coach by entering promo code MONEY at checkout. Again, that's ToledoTequila.com, promo code MONEY to get 10% off your Toledo purchase. Now, let's start the show. Welcome to Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy, brought to you by the 7 Spheres of Money. Thank you for joining us. And before we get started, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So, what's going on, Tonia and Astoria? How are we doing tonight?
Fantastic, Nick. Fantastic. How about you, Astoria?
Fabulous.
Astoria, you just said a few minutes ago that it's been a day.
It has been a day. Just one of those where everything just kind of rolls into the day. It's unexpected, but it's not bad either. It's just like, oh, okay, well, that went differently today.
Roll with the punches. That's what I call it. Roll with the punches.
Right. All of that in the midst of everything that's happened cosmically in the sky. You know, we haven't had in the story in a while, but, you know, it's a lot going on up there. We're going to have a conversation about all of that soon.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. We're not even going to go down that path.
Yeah. Not tonight. We'll talk about some other things tonight. You know, so I figured tonight, you know, we could go ahead and match the energy, you know, of the men, you know, from a couple of weeks ago. They talked about numerous topics over the past few weeks. The most recent show, or by the time this recording comes out, it won't be the most recent show, but the second to the last most recent show, you know, we talked about sports, you know, our experiences with sports. We even talked about that on Nick's Knowledge and Notions every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. You know, we talked about our families, their children. I won't say our children because I don't have children. Their children in sports. Yeah, Astoria feels me on that. Yep. You know, we talked about relationships and networking and the importance of integrity when it comes to building those relationships. So we'll touch on a little bit of all of that, you know, in this conversation to come with the women's perspective, you know, with these two ladies. Cheryl and Stacia couldn't join us this evening, so we'll get Tonia and Astoria's perspective on all of these topics. You know, so let's go ahead and get started. So, I mean, where do we want to start? We want to start with the sports conversation, since that's the freshest the freshest one. We can
start with sports.
Yeah, we can start with sports. Hey, sports is a big business here, so let's start with sports. I think we all were athletes, right? So I ran track all through high school. Did have the opportunity for to run in college, but I took a different path. And so this life is all about choices. So I'm not sure if that was the right choice. Again, sometimes I have some regrets by not looking to see what I could have done in college, but again, at least I had the opportunity. And that's what I always say with everyone is, you know, even though you're going down sports, that path, always have a plan B, because anything can happen. So.
Well, I ran track as well. All through middle school, high school, summer track, all the way leading up until college. And I did not run in college either, but mostly because it was too competitive for me. I was like, I don't want to be competing. Like, I enjoyed running track because I ran track. I made the Summer Olympics. I did all the stuff. But what I was good in, which was hurdles, was not necessarily what I wanted to run. It was just what I was naturally good at. Right. I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to do that. And it just so happened at the time, I went to Jackson State. You guys know that. At the time I was at Jackson State, there was a guy that I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head, but he actually went to the Olympics from Jackson State. So I was like, I don't want to be with them. I be practicing too much. I want to enjoy my college life.
Well, you know, again, I talked about missed opportunities, and I look at it, and this could be a whole nother subject. And I look at parents that they take their passion and their missed opportunities. I see it all the time, especially, you know, in basketball, on the AAU scene or whatever, and baseball, in every sport. And parents that didn't get a chance to do what they wanted to do, they put all that pressure and all of that on their children. So I've seen that a lot. So, and I have to say, I did it. You know, I always told my son, you know, see where you can go with this. You know, you have a talent, see where you can go. Always have a plan B, but don't put it all out there. You know, don't quit. My son, he was a basketball player, but he wanted to try football. And he wanted to quit in the middle of the season. No, you're not quitting. You're going to go through it. You're going to rough it out. But I can say, in terms of that, I've seen a lot of parents put put pressure on their kids to do something that they wanted to do but didn't do. Their missed opportunities. I don't know if you've seen that a lot, but I know I saw it all across the circuit on several all around on the sports scene. So,
well, I am not a parent, but I'm the best TT ever. But I will say this: I am from Texas, and this is football country. Okay, football country. Friday Night Lights. They do not be playing. Okay, they will be playing before they go to school. Mm-hmm. That's neither here nor there. But anywho, so I feel like a lot of times, especially here where I live at, parents push their kids to be the football player, the NFL player, to do these things, to try to make it to that status. And there's nothing wrong with you pushing your kid to the level,
their best potential
they can go, right, to their best potential. But I think because it is a system to get them to play a sport, right? They don't focus on the education, and they kind of let all this stuff kind of like slide through. And I know I'm touching, you know, I told y'all I was a day today, so I've been having all these kind of conversations today. So I'm over here snatching edges and wigs today. That's gonna be my but real talk, we don't focus on the education anymore, or we don't give them anything else. It's more of, you know, it used to be that no pass, no play law. Yeah, that happens, but most of the time what they do, we're gonna let the athlete pass because, you know, we need to play because we need the money for the football team, for the, you know.
It's a big business. It's a big business.
Big business.
And we're not just talking about a big business in college and you know, professional schools. I mean, it's a big business. It's getting people in those stands, in the concession stands. It's a huge business. And so and I do think that that's what's missing. And that's one thing that I was a basketball mom. My husband was a coach, and that's one thing we've always told them, hey, you need a plan B. You know, this is great, but let's just do the statistics. I don't know them. If I would have known we would talk, I would have had it. But let's just break this down. How many people are gonna go to not the NFL, but how many people are going to go to your D1, your D2, your schools? How many are going to do that? How many people? And then on that, how many people are going to be able to go professionally? Then on there is even smaller percentage of the people that's going to go to the NFL. So let's use this. And what I can say is use the sport to get you where you want to go. There's a huge network. Think about it. If you played in college, that was one thing I told my son. Go play in college. It may not be at the level that you had wanted to, but go in there. It's a huge network, and he's enjoying that benefit, knowing that he can always go there. He graduated captain of the basketball team for college, and it's still a network. So, use that. Use what you can to your advantage. You may not go to that next level, but you can use that to be a coach, and it may not be to play. It's other things in the industry, the sports industry, that you can do besides just playing. And so that's what I always like to focus on is, my husband has a friend, he played college ball, and he was on he made the professional team, but I don't even think he played in a game. Just because of that, and just because he had his degree, he got the foot in the door. And I think now he's a president of some major company right now, just because he played football, and that got him in the door. You see what I'm saying? So just use it. You may not play, but use the resources, use the network, use all of that. So go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think, Nick, this going to turn into a me and Tonia conversation, but we're going to bring you in here in a second. I was going to say, I got to throw my school out there, Jackson State, Now that Deion came to the school, so like, what I love about Deion Sanders, honestly, is that he focused on the kids, and he also focuses on education. Like, he's just out here saying, we playing football and this is what we doing. Like all that, he also played baseball, right? So anybody that knows Deion Sanders' story, he played baseball, right? And so it's so interesting that he talks about being focused and, the discipline that you learn from not just the sport part, but to be to another level. If I want to get to another level, I have to do this. I got to focus on this. And I think a lot of times we forget about the discipline part of it that comes into I'm an athlete, right? So you can apply those same principles that you learn as an athlete in your real everyday life. And so that's what we stop focusing on. Like you said, use the network, but also what's the principles? What are those foundations that I learned? That teamwork, right? Teamwork. I learned to work with a team. When you go to a job, or if you're working in a professional industry, or if you're working in a collective with collaborating people, you got to work with a team. You got to learn how to communicate with everybody. Everybody don't learn the same type of way. Everybody doesn't present themselves the same type of way. So I just had to just say, shout out to that, because I love, that's the type of stuff that he's bringing to not Jackson State, but to HBCUs in general, like what he wants you to see. We're going to play football. We're going to win some games. We're going to do some things, right? But here's how I'm impacting our community. What we need to impact our community.
That's an awesome point. Like you said, teamwork, leadership, is so many skills that you learn that's transferable to everything, every walk of life. So awesome point. So excellent.
Yeah, for sure. And it's important, because what I heard from that example with Deion, the story is that he is showing his players how to take control of their education, because you think about some of these big D1 schools who were involved in these scandals a few years ago, in which the players weren't even doing their own work, and they had these made up classes that that they were giving them, and it benefits them in the short term, but it hurts them in the long run. When all of that is over, once all the championships are over and everything like that, what do you have left?
They forget about you. What do you have left? What way of life? How are you gonna, how are you gonna support? Because again, and that's another thing I want to talk about, because even the ones that are in there, they need some type of financial education, because you can't trust anyone. Someone needs to understand how to write their contracts, how to spend their money, and all of this stuff. And I guess that's just not just for athletes, that's for a lot of the entertainers too. But that is just something that, you know, needs to be focused on in our community. So
yep, because the first thing that they do is go, oh, I gotta go buy a house for my mama. I gotta go do this.
Right.
The show that I listen to, it's with Chad Johnson and the other football player, but it comes on Instagram and YouTube or whatever. I love watching it. And this is where I got the thing from Dion, because he was talking about it. I just had to watch that episode. But I like when they talk about, hey, so you know, I made $100,000, right? No, not really. So Uncle Sam took
this amount,
right? Okay. So now how much do I really have? I got $600,000, right? Or even if you start with $1 million, right? If I got $1 million contract, upfront money, right? Still, you cut that down, cut that 40% out right off the bat. You can't even mess with that. Now I gotta pay my manager, I gotta pay this person, I gotta pay that. Let's just say I'm gonna keep it with the 100,000 just because I started with that number. Now let's just say, you know, that was 100,000 here, 20,000 there. Maybe we left now with $400,000, but you just went and bought a $1.2 million house.
Right. Let's do the math. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it's the doing the math of, you know, I'm living outside my means, when in actuality, not every single NFL player actually get those millions of dollars. Right. One of the reasons why I love Marshawn Lynch, I mean, he's my favorite. Okay, favorite. Right. I'm just here so I don't get fined. No, I'm just joking. He's my favorite. But the reason why I like him so much is because he mentally was really smart. He's like, I'm not spending none of my NFL checks. Let me go get all these endorsements. Let me go get this. Never spent a dime. He never did nothing until he got where he needed to. And he was like, okay, now I can just chill, you know. And you see, even now, he came back to the league, you know, but last year to play for somebody. I can't remember who he went to play for, but whatever. He came back to the league. He ain't got to play. That man ain't never got to pick up nothing ever in life, right?
Exactly.
Because he understood, okay, this is how much I actually made. How can I put this away? How can I do this? And that's the things that we don't teach our kids. But he had some people around him that said, nah, player, this is what you're going to do here. This is going to set this up. Because there's so many NFL players that don't even get to the millions, right? That only have, you know, maybe $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 contract because, you know, it's 75 people on the team. Not all 75 people is finna play on the field, right?
Exactly.
70, whatever the roster is. They're not all playing. It's only 11 people on the field at a time, y'all.
Right. So let me ask you this. What is needed in our community? And let's go back. Let's even go to Pee Wee going on up. What do we need to do in our community to, and it seems like it's been there, but it seems like we have so much work to do to let them know that the education, while this is important, the education is still need to be done, because I've seen people that went to college, something happened. It's not always peaches and cream. Went, got hurt, and now they're back home. You know, now they're back home, or they don't finish, or something comes in and they don't finish, I've seen it a lot. They go to schools, and their credits, and they transfer from this school because of playing time, not because of education, and not because of resources or what. Hey, not using this sport or my talents to get me my education or get me where I need to. But their whole focus is on sports, me and playing time. And they go from here and they transfer here and they go transfer here. And once you look at it, their credits aren't transferring. And when their talents are all used up, they don't have a degree, or they didn't get what they needed to out of the program. So what can we do as a community? What needs to be there? Is there a lack of like father figures? Are there a lack of, someone that they trust? Again, they have to find someone that they trust. And let's even say this, do the AAU coaches and all of that, do they have the best interest in mind, or the high school coaches? Do they have the best interest in mind of the player, the person, the player, not the talent, the player, but the person, the player? I know that's hard to believe, but I've seen it all. And that needs to be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I've seen it all too. Yeah. I'm just gonna say it started at home. Like, I mean, I hate to say this like this, but it starts at home. It's what we teach them at home. If you only care about football and you only care about, and that's what you present to your child, that's what your child is gonna believe is the most important thing, right? But if you put emphasis, like you said, for your son, if you put emphasis on the education is important too. Like, I remember when I was running track and doing different things for summer and I was in drill team, I did all these other things. If my grades weren't on point, and I never had bad grades, right? But let's just say I brought a C home instead of a B, right? Or something. Mm-hmm. And it could have been like that 1 point. Like, oh, I really don't like this subject, but I'm really, really trying really hard. My mom was like, oh, well, you're not doing that no more. you might as well just stay in the house, right? And so we don't do that to our kids. Like, or, you know, we don't show that type of restraint and that type of discipline. And I am not even a parent. And if I can see that, you know, it's outside in the world, it's at home. Like, they're not learning it. I don't think it has to do with father figure or mother figure. It's just the foundation. Even if the grandparent is the person that's watching over them, if they're teaching them and instilling those values in them, right? Which what we should be doing in general, then they'll understand that. And they won't always look to just, oh, I got to play football or I got to play a sport to get me where I want to be. Right? And then we focusing on NFL and basketball, but there are so many other, like, it's a lot of Black people that play baseball, right? Yeah. A lot of I know some Black soccer players, and I'm like,
yeah, that's a great point. I have a friend of mine. Her son was moved from Atlanta, and he was playing lacrosse, and at one of the biggest schools here in Detroit, one of the most elite schools, didn't have a lacrosse team. And so what did she think about? Hey, my son is not a lot of African Americans in lacrosse. What are we going to do? We're going to start a lacrosse team here in the inner city of Detroit. And so that's right. There's so many sports. There's so many things in other sports as well.
We'll be right back with Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. After this message, stay tuned.
Hi, so this is a testimonial for DJ the Bunny Coach. I would like to thank you for everything that you've done to help my family get on track. First of all, I got one of the best packages that you had, so that was A1. I love the team. They have really come through, and you were amazing as a coach. Every week you showed up on time. Every single week. And trust me, I've been in a lot of courses, a lot of classes, spent a lot of money, and unfortunately some people don't do what they say that they're going to do as a coach. So you showed up and showed out. Yeah. So the financial planning that I learned in the situation, it's not that I didn't know about some of the things, but the main parts that I would say were different for me is learning about how to actually save the right amount of money for an emergency savings, learning about tax savings, and even how to structure your business more properly so that you can reap the benefits of the taxes and not be taxed so much, you know. So the part that was eye-opening is actually going over the numbers. So I think sometimes, you know, we think that we're doing the numbers, but we didn't understand exactly where our truck business was. And during this process, we were able to see that. And I thank you for all the support that you and your team has given. And I will continue to work with you guys.
To piggyback off of your point, yeah, I understand it starts at home, but Astoria, let's keep it real. There are some parents that just like, I don't know what to do. My son has this talent. Everybody's saying he's good, and they just don't know what to do. And they just give it up to the coach. They give it up to and how I know this, because they did it to my husband. You know, he was like, I don't know what to do. My son has a talent. Help me guide, you know. And so, and they just put all their eggs in the basket on that and trusting that person to do what's right for their kids. But I understand what you're saying, because I wasn't leaving it up to anybody. I was about to do it myself. But in our community, we don't see that a lot. There are some that, and let's think about it. Some parents don't have the time, not that they don't love their kids, not whatever, but they're trying to provide to put food on their table. They're working 3 or 4 jobs. They're not there. Not that they don't love their kids, and not that they can't, is that they just don't have the time to do it and the knowledge. So they entrust it to a lot of people. And so that's where I'm getting at, is just, I think that goes back to
systemic. I hate to say this, but it goes back to the systematic racism and the systemic stuff that is happening in our communities that we don't deal with. Like, you know, I'm super into mental health, and you taking your days and you being able to, you know, be able to be for yourself so you can be for somebody else, right? And so that's part of it. You know, parents are stressed out. They doing this. They got this amount of kids. They doing this, blah, 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 right? What's the root of why they got to that point, right? Like, we not addressing, like, why did we get to this point in order to get there? Majority of it is because we still dealing with our parents' past that we never healed from, and we don't think that that's mental trauma, but it is. We not with it, which is why we so numb to the fact that stuff happens right now. We're gonna march a little bit. We're gonna sing some Negro spirituals. We're gonna do all this other stuff, but we're not creating a solution to the problem that we literally, you know, made happen. And so I think that speaks to, you know, just what's happening. What the pandemic showed you, like, literally put it out in front. It made everybody equal, like, legit. Everybody was equal. We all at home. Yeah. Nobody making no money, right?
Right.
And people are making money, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. We all on the same level here.
Cleaning the slate, right? And so I think now is when we change that narrative and reinforce, you know, the education, the trades, making sure that kids are doing other things. Because if you ain't learned nothing else during this, you learn that your family is way more important and more valuable to you. Your time is way more important and valuable to you, right? And that other people come and go. They ain't got nothing to do with what you got going on right now. Sure. And so now's the time to change it. And if you look at history, and this is me going off on a tangent, but if you look at history and you just go back to 100 years ago of what was happening in society, right? We were coming into a Great Depression. You know, the society was transitioning. All this stuff it's literally the exact same thing happening again. Are we gonna come up on the upside this time?
Which side are we gonna come on?
Again, right?
Exactly. It all starts with, I agree, education at home and changing the narrative and changing our past and not necessarily changing, but even understanding. That's a whole nother thing. Again, we spoke about, I'm a proponent of, I mean, it's always a stigma in our community that, you know, hey, you don't need to go see anybody, you know, or the church can heal you. The church can do everything. We all know that's true. And, you know,
don't talk to the pastor.
Yeah. And it's a stigma. And I'm just really a proponent is a lot of our issues that we have is, like you said, Astoria, something that happened in the past that we not even, it's an underlying issue that we don't even know. And so much stuff can be handled and just, if we just take our time to just, as mental health, as we know, it's an issue. And I think it's becoming a little more to light nowadays. And it's becoming a little more accepted to seek someone about issues. So again.
Is it? I'm gonna ask you this question. Is it really? Because look at what's happening right now. We're gonna go to the tennis, okay? Look what's happening right now.
I know.
Okay. They acting like she can't have a mental.
She can't have a mental, right? And
she's young. She is not some 30-year-old.
Yeah, she's
Williams playing and has a support system her whole life, right? This is a young woman who won, you know, against Serena probably was like her idol, right?
Right.
And off of technicality, right? Which negating her win. I'm so glad that all that happened, right? But I'm just saying, one was supported by her idol. And then when she decided that she wanted to take a mental break because she couldn't handle the pressure, everybody acting like, what do you mean? Everybody else is taking this. The problem is, this is a Black woman who now decided, you know what? I don't care if you give me 10 $100,000 fines.
And I applaud her.
Alone.
I applaud her.
So the question is are we really taking it serious, or is it a game, right? Like, and I'm saying it in air quotes because I take mental health very seriously. And a day is not me going to get my nails done, to get a massage and all this. No, that's not a self-care day, right? That's not me mentally taking care of me. But that's what society is now perpetuating, is that, you know, you can just talk to anybody, you'll be okay. Oh, take you a self-care day, blah, blah, blah. No, are you understanding that my issues as a Black woman, as a Black man, is totally different from you as a white woman or a white male? We got two totally different issues that we're dealing with. So are we really taking mental health seriously, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Black male therapists do you know? I only know two. I can count off my hand. Two. That's like real out here, really trying to help people.
Right. Yeah.
No, that's a good.
That's a great point.
That's a good point. And what you just brought up. Let's talk about that a little bit more. You know, go ahead and transition into that mental health conversation. I'm glad you tied sports back into that too. Because that's a conversation too. Because we got to talk about the stress that in general that comes from playing sports, you know, all across the board, you know, starting, like you said, Tonia, starting from the Pee-wee all the way up to the professionals, all of the pressure that you face, along with you know, all of the physical strain on the body. But just going back to what you just said, Astoria, about mental health and self-care, I think it's important to explicitly point out that those are not necessarily the same thing, you know? So let's talk about the differences, I guess the similarities and the differences between those two, and how you go about addressing each of those.
Tonia, I'll let you start, girl. I've been taking a whole, but I feel like I've been talking.
We both been talking. Self-care. I mean, I believe we do need self-care, no matter what. We do need that, but it's totally two different things between that. Self-care is, you know, making sure I'm taking care of myself, taking time out for myself. And I can just tell you, as a busy professional, it's very important, because as a busy person, sometimes I feel guilty to take time out for myself. I remember I was just saying I had a little break. I went to the shoe store, just took me a little hour, maybe an hour and a half break. And I felt a little guilty, you know, like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be working. You need to stop and take care of self too. But that's totally different than understanding what's here, what your needs. And sometimes you can't, you think you got it all together. Something that happened in your past that you don't know is correlating to something that's happened now. And sometimes you just can't get that out. It comes from someone that has that's trained to do that. And sometimes it's not your mama, it's not your sister, it's not your girlfriend. Well, it's not, you know, because they're looking for certain things to connect. So I am truly a proponent of a therapist or a counselor or whatever, because it's so many things that just brought out, you know, in me that I didn't even know what it came from. And it stemmed from something so small from my past that I had no idea. So they're not the same. You know, self-care is me taking care of myself, me understanding I need time for myself. Whereas getting a therapist, that means understanding myself and trying to improve myself, improve where I'm at, not going back and making the same mistakes. A lot of times it's a cycle, person doing the same thing over and over and over again. And they have to break that cycle and they don't know how. So sometimes you need that professional help to get you to understand why and how, and get you into the right path. So,
yeah. So, I mean, just to piggyback off that, most of it, mental health and you getting a therapist, they supply you with the tools necessary to notice the trigger, right? And then react differently than what you were doing before. And that's basically what you said, Tonia. I'm just changing the words.
Yeah.
Right? So they give you the tools and the skills that you need in order for you to notice the trigger, right? So this is what triggers me to be whatever, right? And here's the way that you begin to deal with that, right? And so that's what you talk about with your therapist, like understanding like what those therapists are, coach, or what that spiritual advisor,
whatever,
whoever you decide that you know is your path, right? But understanding that that's what that is and that you have to fix it. So there's as a healer myself, right? I talk a lot about shadow work. And that kind of goes into like just who I am as a person, right? Shadow work is those underlying things that you your inner child, like you don't even remember that this happened to you as a child, right? Or that someone told you something that just hit a light bulb in the back of your head, and every time you think of those things, it triggers you to react a certain way. And so you just have to learn your triggers, you know, and you can't do that on your own. Sometimes you just need someone else that doesn't know you from the outside looking in for you to talk and get all that out. And they are trained to hear trigger words, cues, like, oh, okay, that's what that is. And they have a non-biased opinion. Don't know you. They don't know you personally, like in your in-depth, like they didn't grow up with you. They don't know, oh, here's what really happened, blah, 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 right? Whereas self-care is, for me, what I did yesterday. I was out of pocket all day yesterday. Today too, matter of fact. Turn my phone off. Don't take no calls. Don't be on Instagram. I went to the beach. I literally woke up early in the morning. I'm a water baby. I love the ocean. It's very soothing. Yeah, I mean, it's only 45 minutes away, right? So I get in my car. I go watch the sunrise, right? I have my meditation, my yoga, like things that I know that help me to soothe and settle. I journal. Those are self-care things. Yes, getting your nails done is really soothing for you, right? Or, you know, but the mental work of self-care is like decompressing for yourself. Like just like take a deep breath. Woo, okay. Now I can get back to my day, right? And we do as entrepreneurs feel guilty sometimes, but I will tell you what one of our mentors told me, said it is okay for you to take one day for you to. So if your one day means that you sit and you binge watch whatever Netflix show you want to watch all day, that's okay. That's your business. Do what you do. Because if that helps you decompress for what's happening in the real world and helps you to set and recalibrate, that's what you do. My recalibration is me going to the beach. And then I'm like, okay, powered up, let's go, let's get it, right? Let's make it happen.
Everyone might have a different way. Yeah.
Everyone's is different, right? So whatever your way is, but that's your self-care time, right? And you learn to do those things. That's something you can do on your own. Whereas your mental health is, you learn the therapy, the mental health part is, okay, let me get the tools necessary to deal with the things that I didn't even know I was dealing with, them underlying issues.
How do people get the tools though, Astoria? A lot of people just think that is, therapists are very expensive and this and that. So how are the tools readily available for people in our community? I just want to, because that's a myth as well, that there's not readily available for us. And so where can people get the tools from, or how can they get the tools?
You can just go online. Honestly, BetterHelp is something you can use. I mean, this ain't no ad or nothing like that, but yeah. BetterHelp, they have digital, they'll match you with a digital therapist to talk to online digitally. But also what you should do is, I mean, follow some therapists or people that are in that realm, right? My Facebook and things like that. Reach out. I have seen so many Black people, Black professionals paying for other people to have services. They'll just throw random messages out there. I have seen it time and time again. Throw random messages out. Hey, I'm paying for 10 people to have therapy for the next 6 months. Right? I'm saying, because they believe that much in mental health. Everyone else does. So you just have to surround yourself with those things. Like when you seek out something, when you seek something out, it always naturally finds you.
We'll be right back with Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. After this message, stay tuned.
I created STEAM, STEAM. It's science, technology, engineering, access, and mentorship. And people might say, well, what happened to the math? Well, to me, it's self-explanatory. If you're going to be an engineer, you got to be good at math in some capacity. How does that translate when you go in these boardrooms with these Fortune 500 companies who just want to take money out of our community? How do you get them to, humanize our experiences and actually give us the value without us having to be validated through their lens? People don't understand when you start out in business, you got to pay your team first before you pay yourself. I'm gonna say it. You got to pay your team first before you pay yourself because you're invested in a system. I'm excited about meeting you guys because I think you're stumbling on something that's going to actually dissolve that system and actually make you as the #1 player in the industry. Can you talk to that a little bit?
You know what I can say? I can say that I have chills, right now at 4:19 Central Time, Thursday, March 4th, 2021 in Austin, Texas, hearing you say that. And I actually want to refer back to this clip whenever it is that we, do achieve some milestone like $100 million of gross written premium.
The DJTMC Financial Experts Series is the #1 show featuring the hottest business professionals, working professionals, and entrepreneurs, from the seasoned vets to the rising stars. Email Nick at djthemoneycoach.com if you have what it takes to stand among the greats. Now back to the program. So we were just in the middle of talking about the differences between self-care and mental health / therapy. And we have Stacia here now with us. Stacia, thanks for joining us. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Glad to jump in where I fit in.
Great to have you. And you came in at a perfect part. We were just talking about self-care and mental health and therapy. So the ladies were talking about Astoria and Tonia. They were talking about the differences between self-care and mental health. So we can start with there and get your thoughts on that. So you can go ahead and chime in on, what are your thoughts on the differences and similarities between self-care and mental health?
Well, it seems that the heart of both of those is awareness of self. And being self-aware is a journey for sure. Many times our initial beliefs in life come from the outside, our parents, school, and our environment. And then you start to become aware in young adulthood about who you are, what you believe, and what you need to live your life to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. And so as it relates to the difference, mental health, we have some issues in our society where people are not aware for sure of when there is a disconnect between their reality and other people. And it shows up a lot of times just very mildly as depression. And depression is really just a state of mind of not really knowing what to do if things aren't going well for you, whatever that is, or whatever your idea of that is. And of course, I deal in the benefits world, and depression shows up when people are overwhelmed with all of their commitments personally, professionally, and women are not necessarily always the best at taking care of themselves first. So that's kind of the difference, is knowing when you must take time to restore your mind, body, and spirit before you can go give to everybody else, be it at work and or at home. And I would just say that I could see where we've got to address the stigmas in our community, particularly about making sure that it's okay to mention, I need some help. And that's kind of the heart of it, being aware that you need help and being aware that there must be some attention to restore your mind, your body, and your spirit to be effective and live your best life.
Awesome.
I love that awareness. And then awareness, you always hear the saying, how can you pour into others if your cup is empty? So
100%.
Yeah. So we got to keep
the analogy I always use is, oh, this is perfect. Cup and saucer, right? Your cup has to be 100% full, and everything that falls on the saucer is for everyone else. If your cup ain't full, you can't help the other people that's around you. Your cup has to be completely full. So, like, that's the best analogy anybody could have ever gave me. But the cup and the saucer is just
awesome.
She just had it right there. Look at that. Just had it set right there.
The phone was my saucer, and here's my cup.
I thought it was a real saucer. So Stacia, you had mentioned that you are in the benefit. You are in the benefits, and that's one of the things that we did mention, that people, they don't understand, or they don't know the tools or how to get help. And a lot of times it's right there in their employee benefits is right there. So can you talk a little bit about that?
One of the most unused categories of an employee benefit is typically an employee assistance program. And this fits in kind of really well with what we're talking about for two aspects. It has coaching for counseling, for mental issues, but it also many times in a employee assistance program, also called EAP, it also has many times financial coaching. And so it's typically not anything you have to pay for. However, what they are good at, if you do access the support of an EAP program, and they see that you need actually more than just counseling, and it crosses over into psychology and psychiatrist, they can refer you to your medical plan. So they're typically skilled to do that. But a lot of times people don't even know that they could use the employee assistance program. And a lot of times it's just unawareness, back to awareness again, that it exists. But secondly, there's many times also the stigma to ask for help. But everybody needs help sometime in some form or fashion. And it's just something we've got to talk about more and have people be aware of and use it, because one, is being paid for, and two, just like she showed us with the cup and the saucer, if you have an empty cup or a dwindling cup, it leads to stress. And most of the stress is emotional and mental, first and foremost. And so having the tools to do that is important, and knowing where to start. If it at work, the EAP program, and if not, quite frankly, a lot of people certainly may call a spiritual advisor, a pastor, church member. Heck, I think sometimes we could just tell somebody who, guys don't usually disclose that they are having some issues, but talk to somebody who just say, how do you deal with overcommitment? That's usually a good place to start. How do you deal with overcommitment? I think that's a easy way for guys to get started, for them to address it. But women, we start with people we know, like, and trust. So just talking to somebody is part of it. It's not always glamorous on the outside, even though that cup may look full over there. Sometimes it may have some dust in it that you need to go strain out. And building relationships with other people is probably the most helpful mental health thing that someone can do for themselves, is to have a friend and be a friend.
All right.
I have a question that I'm gonna ask this way, because I said it before earlier, but my question is always like, so a lot of times we work in these spaces where there's not someone that looks like us, so we don't utilize our employee benefits, right? But the question is, do they understand, or do they have the capacity to understand that me as a Black woman's mental issues, or me as a Black man's mental issues
are different?
You as a white woman, or you as a white male counterpart, right? Like I know they can kind of guide you, but are they able to at least, I know you can't never walk a day in my shoes and understand that, but understand like that our needs are different. And is there something available that helps those needs be met with traditional, employee benefits do?
Right.
And I'm just saying that from I work in the entrepreneurial world, so
Yeah.
a company where
Right.
they're readily available, but we may have somebody that's listening that may
know. Right.
Right.
Story, that's a great question, because I just had a coaching type session, and again, the coach was someone that did not look like me. And I have another a friend that had another coaching session, and she had one with someone that didn't look like her. And one of the first questions that they did, and they're acknowledging now that we understand that your walk is different than our walk. And one of the things that we can do while we can't walk in your shoes and we don't understand what's going on, is to have that open dialogue. And so the first step for them is to be able to feel, because they didn't know how, a lot of times they don't know how to ask or what. And so the first step for them, I'm just saying, if you're dealing with someone that doesn't look like us, is to be honest and to allow that open dialogue, free to open it up and free to allow them to ask questions about how you feel, how do we feel that they should act, so that open dialogue. And it just happens. And I don't know if that's part of their coaching now, because I can tell you before I didn't get that. I wasn't, that question wasn't being asked. It was just that we're all thinking that we're all supposed to do things the way that everybody else does it, not knowing that we come from a different background or a different state of mind. So it's interesting that you're saying that, but I think now people are understanding, not that they can't help, but at least it's coming over to saying that, hey, we are different and we need to understand each other. So I think the first step is to allow us to open up, to tell our story, tell our differences, tell our thoughts, in order to get us a little closer. I don't think that but just helping them to understand and to allow that open dialogue and to allow them not to feel, oh, how can I ask this, but allow that so that we can understand each other and maybe move toward, path, an upward path. So that's all I have to say.
I do have a friend who is diagnosed bipolar. Mm-hmm. She's been that way. She tried to actually commit suicide about 20 years ago. She's doing much better now. She wants to and does help other people with mental and emotional issues and all of that. And that question actually came up, and learning from her, she said that when it comes up and it's important to the person that they feel acknowledged, she points them to actually Google, in our case, African American health providers, mm-hmm. mental health providers. And so I think that's part of what would come up in some of our conversations about it as we continue to have it be more mainstream of any culture or race to talk about mental health, that there's associations of psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, and coaches that are culturally sensitive to different areas. But on the flip side, you've got African Americans who would say they don't only want African American clients because, it goes both ways and all of that. But I think, as Tonia mentioned, they are being taught to better acknowledge that there may be some need to mention the differences going in, and also clarify how people can help. And in the entrepreneurial space, when we're talking about mentors, I've got a whole bunch of different kind of mentors that look, male, female, black, white, old, young. Usually when you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for somebody to help mentor you in a specific area. Mm-hmm. And in this mental health conversation, I can see that being similar, that you're looking for someone who's going to help you address the dynamic that you're dealing with, like right now. So this time I might need somebody to help me be because I'm feeling overloaded because I got a bunch of young kids and I'm running a Fortune 500 company, you know, whatever that is. All of those, but it goes back again to awareness, to start asking people, start asking your network, you know, who do you know who, you know, may have dealt with this, because you don't always have to pay for the help either. Sometimes to get some support and help you work through an issue.
I think the reality is what you said. We don't acknowledge that we need help, because I'm just gonna throw it out. I'm just gonna hold y'all attention.
Go for it, bring it.
I'm gonna throw it out there. We have perpetuated to society that we are strong Black women,
and don't need it.
We don't need no help. We got it. We don't need nobody, right? And so all of that has been perpetuated makes us feel bad for asking for help or acknowledging the fact that we need help. So then we literally be like, okay, well, I could just do it on my own. I'm gonna, do whatever. And so, especially with us we're not at home as much anymore, right? But being locked down and being in that specific space for almost a full year, right? I'm sure that brings up a lot of stuff for people, no matter what their race is. But the whole thing is we have this I don't need no help attitude that goes back to, I'm gonna say it goes back to when things happen to us as a people, we were told not to talk about it. And so now we continue that. No, even though someone didn't tell you not to talk about it, you just picked it up as like something that you're a generational curse or something that you're carrying along with you unknowingly, right? But we're not gonna talk about it. So it didn't happen. It never happened, right? We'll just throw it under the rug type of thing. So I just was throwing that out there. Yeah. I ain't snatch nobody wig or nothing like that.
Astoria, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think it was, I forgot who said it, but one of you mentioned, wanting to, when we have those mental health challenges, the first person we usually think to go to is that person that we know and that we trust and that we love. And I think some of those negative experiences comes from being let down by those people that we know and that we trust and that we love. And that kind of, I guess we kind of have that mindset that we expect that from everyone. So we expect that from the professional too, when the professional is there to be that person for you, to that person that you can depend on. So we kind of have that expectation like, oh, this person is going to disappoint me as well. So I don't need any help. I'll just take care of it myself. So that's just a thought that just popped into my mind too, because I've heard that before. Like I've heard, women express that frustration that they can't depend on anyone to talk to or to get guidance from or advice from, and yeah, it seems to be a common issue.
Yeah, and some of it also is our mentality in terms of our controlling, our control. We want to control the process from A through Z. And that just comes from, that's just who we are. We have a rich, strong Black woman. We can do it, and we can do A through Z. But is it healthy to do A through Z? So you can do something, but Astoria can do C, Stacia can do D, I may do something along the line. But can we do A through Z? Yes. But should we, if it's going to impact our mental health? No. Something that I've just learned, I just said this in our sister circle, it took me a long time to say no. Everything on our plate is not yes. You shouldn't have, I've learned the art of saying no. And it took me almost in my 40s to do that. I wish I would have learned it earlier. But the no has made such a big difference because, I have to look at it. is what you're doing. What is the purpose? If it doesn't have a purpose, if it's just doing it to doing it and it doesn't serve a purpose, let's start crossing it out. And by doing that, it has helped me with my self-care and my time and my mental health by learning the power of no and not feeling bad about it. So
yeah. And this could be a topic for something else, Nick, but here's the thing. Why do we feel that way? Why are we such like, no, I got it, I can do it? And we're gonna put a pin in it, but I'm just gonna say that it comes from way back, take it on back to slavery. We still living with, I saw this happen to my Black man, they tore him down. So now I have to do everything I'm supposed to do. And we're not saying it, like this isn't something that we keep saying, right? But this is something that literally generationally keeps happening, and you keep seeing it perpetuate itself in a different way, right? Instead of, us saying, oh no, as a unit, we can do these things. Right? As a unit, we can do blah, blah, blah. As a unit, no, I got this, I can do this because something systemically you already been torn down, and I'm still continuing to tear you down, and I'm going to continue to tear you down, right? So now I have to take my Black woman and make sure that she does everything that she needs to do. And then that puts more pressure on my Black family. So all those underlying things we talked about earlier about like, we don't have time to be with our kids and do with the kids. We don't have time to do all those things. It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. I said it earlier, but it's just kind of rounded on.
It came back.
A different day. We don't have to go down that path. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that's a good way. It did. We talked about it with, why they don't have time. Why do they have time to take the kids to practice or do this? Because they don't have the time and they entrust it into. So it did come back in full circles. Great. I think that's something to talk about. Also, I think it's our culture is a lie on that. Oh, we're independent women. We're this, that. So it's a cultural type, but not phenomenal, phenom or whatever you all want to call it. That's perpetuating.
But it's costly for us to do that though. So now we know where it comes from. There's a book called Women Don't Ask. And it's very powerful in acknowledging the actual data and facts that tell us how much it costs us to not learn how to ask for what we need. And this certainly applies to mental health, but it also applies to our wealth and resources. And we'll have to talk about that. I think that's a whole other topic. Women don't ask. So
women don't ask. Who would be the author of that? Because that's gonna be on the next reading list.
Yes.
3 books that I'm reading right now.
About that. I don't know the name of it. Nick's waving his hand like he's ready to shut this down. But
I was just bubbling with a title.
Yeah,
women don't ask. I should have.
I love that, and I definitely want to read that. But again, women don't ask again, because we're gonna talk about this equal opportunity, this equal thing. Women don't ask because they don't want to. I mean, I don't know if this is in the book, but this is another topic. But we don't ask because we've wanted to. We've been trying so hard to get on the same playing field in men with work, with corporate or whatever.
Actually, it's more simple than that, and it's tied into our culture, but also female. A lot of it has to do with how we're acculturated, back to environment. For example, traditionally, men are responsible for outside the house, bringing the money in, doing the line, whereas women are responsible for the home. And so no matter even the financial wherewithal, even if you're rich or whatever, it's easy and it's outside of yourself for the guy, as an example, to ask and pay somebody to do the line. But the women being responsible for the inside, you can't just have just anybody in your house. And so you take on all of the feelings and emotions that go with that. Well, fast forward when it's time to go to work and all that, we don't ask for salaries and all that. That's the first thing guys do. They know they gotta ask. That's how they get dates. That's how they do. And so it's an awareness issue. Back again, we talk about that, where being aware of the dynamics, because, you know, guys always tell us, don't take that personally. They don't take it personally if they get a no, but they're going to ask. And that's us too, being aware of, you know, if somebody comes in your house and has something snippy to say, like catty women can be about, you know, I didn't like that paint on her wall or the couch she chose, and we take it personally. Guys couldn't care less about that, you know, in general.
Yeah.
And so similar to what Astoria was saying earlier about I'll just do it myself, that's typically what women do it themselves. But then you can't do all that by yourself, like you said, Tonia. But being aware of taking it all on and the cost of it to our mental health and our wherewithal is, we got to change the conversation, the awareness, and the actions.
Awesome.
Yes, that. By the way, that author is Linda Babcock. I looked it up.
Yes.
That's right here, Linda Babcock.
Damn.
You got a story of Linda Babcock.
That's it.
I was looking it up on Amazon, so it's okay.
It's an excellent book. I have a whole presentation on that whole thing about the financial cost of not asking. Yes.
Okay. Wow. Oh yeah. So the title that I was just bubbling inside of me. Let's see how you all like this for that show topic. Okay. This is what I came up with. The independent versus the interdependent Black woman.
Ooh, check him out. See, he took it on. First he was saying, no, I don't want to be responsible. He got it. You get.
Yeah. Wait, that's all I got though.
To his credit, we came up with the topic. He came up with the title.
Yeah, that's the title. Just the title. That's all. Yeah, that's all I'm coming with. Just the title there.
That's all we're asking you to do. Just roll it this way. We got you once you get us going that way. You've got to put the environment, and we'll go.
We'll be right back with Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. After this message, stay tuned.
Hey there, my name is Unica Banks. I am 37 years of age and I am in the Raleigh area of North Carolina. I just had my complimentary coaching session with DJ the Money Coach, and I decided to rock out and move forward with him and the rest of his team because why not? And two, because I plan on being offensive instead of defensive about my finances and my legacy. I meet so many people in my line of work, and you know, people always say, I wish I was younger. I wish I would have done better. I wish I would have known. And really, I'm tired of it. Stop wishing better, start doing better, and move forward with somebody that has not only the knowledge, the skills, the talent, and the team to help you go where you want to go. I feel like I'll get more than my money's worth. If I could spend a few grand, several grand on a piece of luggage, I could spend a little bit to get a lot of it in the long run. So if you're thinking about doing better, stop thinking, start doing, and definitely get down with the pom-pom lifestyle. I'm not there, but I'm looking to be there soon. Bye.
I think we gave them a lot, and we gave them a little bit of a preview for what's to come in the next show and even future shows. So let's go ahead and give our final thoughts and then close out with our businesses and whatever other information we want the audience to know about what we have going on. So anyone can start.
Well, I'll start. I'll just say it was an awesome conversation with you two ladies, Astoria, Stacia, as well as you, Nick. And I am looking forward to, again, we talked about awareness. That's the theme that just came up about awareness. And so I'm looking forward to diving in. Nick, like you said, the independent versus the independent Black woman. I can't wait for that topic. But again, awareness, and looking forward to future conversations. So.
Oh, and Tonia, give us the information about Great Lakes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Great.
So go ahead and plug that.
All righty. And again, Tonia Archibald from Great Lakes Property Management Group. You can go to our website, www.greatlakespmg.com for more information.
Okay. So Astoria, go for it.
Oh, I get to go next? Okay. All right. So what are my final thoughts? Man, I'm just excited for all these conversations that's about to happen. You know, I took a mental health day. And when I say mental health day, a self-care day, whatever you want to call it, yesterday, which was absolutely amazing and much needed. And so I really tell people to, you know, if you haven't even started talking to someone, a great thing to do is journal, to get the thoughts out, get the process going. And that may make you feel more comfortable talking to someone else because you're finally actually, you know, getting it out. Because sometimes the way our brain works is until we get the thought out, it stays in there. And so you just want to be able to get that out. So, you know, take advantage of all the tools that are available, but pick up a journal and just start writing it out. Like that's a really great place to start. If you are looking to find me, of course, you can catch me every Monday on Instagram Live for Money Mondays, talking financial education on a basics place, like really just so that we can start conversations. Because I feel like in our community, as Black people and as creatives, because I'm an entrepreneur and creative, that we don't talk about money. We don't talk about, you know, savings and wealth and things like how to create those things. We just see it, right? And no one gives us strategies, or we're not even talking about it. Then you can find me. I don't know when we're going to do a story again, but I'm sure it will be coming soon. My Instagram is Miss Story, so MS_STORI. Or you can look me up on Facebook. It's Astoria, 2 cute Stubbs. I'm the only person named Astoria. Like it's not that hard to find me. And if you need any services as far as like Reiki, spiritual healing, those things, that's what I offer. And of course, I'm a hairstylist, so I'm always still doing hair. So yeah, that's me.
Right.
Love it, love it, love it. Ooh, this is so much fun. Right up my alley. Well, I'm just thrilled to be part of this group that Dale and Nick have put together, and we are going to surpass probably any expectation any of us would have about helping us all grow our momentum into effective happiness, health, and wealth. And I am part of, my business is BeneChoice Companies. BeneChoiceCompanies.com is my website, and I just enjoy conversations about uplifting people and their purpose. So looking forward to our next time together.
Yes, yes. Thank you all again, ladies, for your time and for your experience, sharing your experiences and your wisdom. Everyone out there watching, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the 7 Spheres of Money. You have been watching Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy, brought to you by the 7 Spheres of Money. So on behalf of Miss Tonia Archibald, Miss Astoria Stubbs, Miss Stacia Robinson, and of course, the head coach of all of this, DJ the Money Coach, I'm Nick Westbrooks, and we wish you a pom-pom lifestyle that is plenty of money, peace of mind, and we invite you to come join us on the beaches of the World Club. And your beach doesn't have to be next to sand or water. Yeah, go ahead and get the dance on too. Your beach doesn't have to be next to sand or water, but your beach is wherever you find your peace of mind, which also equates to your positive mental health and your freedom, your personal freedom. Yeah, so take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, and we will see you on the next episode.
Hi, I'm DJ the Money Coach. Don't touch that dial. You want to become financially independent? You want to have consumer debt freedom? You want to have passive income, learn how to build a business, acquire real estate, and achieve the lifestyle you deserve in 2021? Well, hit that link below right now. We've worked with over 20,000 people in the past 2 decades, helping them become consumer debt free, increase their credit scores by 30 to 60 points in 30 days or less, and help them acquire businesses through real estate, taxes, and a network of experts just like me. So you'll get a complete 3-hour, 18-module course called Family Finance 101 that'll teach you A to Z how to become consumer debt free, credit worthy, and it puts you in position to become a certified entrepreneur. We'll also give you a complimentary consultation with me that's a $500 value. Why would you want to do that? Because I have already achieved that, and I can help you achieve your American dream in 2021. Hit the link below, get the free webinar and the complimentary consultation, and I'll see you soon and wish you a pom-pom lifestyle that's plenty of money and peace of mind. Come join us.
Toledo Organic Tequila is so crisp, so incredibly smooth, it's simply in a category by itself. This is luxury. Life tastes better naturally, so should your tequila. This is Toledo. Enjoy responsibly. Visit ToledoTequila.com to get your bottle of Toledo Organic Tequila. Get a 10% discount on DJ the Money Coach by entering promo code MONEY at checkout. Again, that's ToledoTequila.com, promo code MONEY to get 10% off your Toledo purchase.